The drama surrounding the Atlanta Falcons' collapse feels almost cinematic in the way every decision, every gamble, every attempt to construct a new identity for the franchise has unraveled in the most disastrous way imaginable. What began as a calculated attempt to reinvent the future has now devolved into a spiraling series of setbacks that expose the fragility of NFL roster building when ambition outweighs stability. The Falcons didn't just make one mistake. They built an entire foundation on the wrong assumptions, and now the entire structure is collapsing in real time. This situation would be comical if it weren't so devastatingly real for a fanbase that has already endured some of the most heartbreaking moments in NFL history. Instead of rising with a new quarterback era, Atlanta now sits firmly in the center of a nightmare scenario, watching the future grow dimmer with each passing week while the past decisions they once defended so proudly now look like the beginning of a storm they can no longer escape. Michael Penix Jr.'s injury was the latest domino to fall, and it wasn't a small one. A partially torn ACL in his left knee, the opposite leg from the 2 ACL tears he suffered in college, has essentially frozen the Falcons' timeline. He wasn't just another rookie quarterback getting his first chance. He was supposed to be the bridge, the next chapter, the plan that justified every head-scratching decision made in the months leading up to his selection. The Falcons positioned him as the future even as they paid Kirk Cousins like a present-day savior. But when Penix went down, the illusion shattered. His long history of injuries resurfaced in the worst moment, turning a slow-building concern into an undeniable reality. With every major injury, a quarterback's career shifts. Speed declines, mechanics change, trust in the body fades, and when it happens over and over again, the trajectory of an entire franchise can be forever altered. Now, Penix must begin yet another rehabilitation journey, and the Falcons must face the possibility that the quarterback they believed in may never reach the level they envisioned when they selected him 8th overall. That miscalculation alone would have been painful enough, but it becomes catastrophic when paired with the Cousins situation. Atlanta paid him one of the largest guarantees of any quarterback that offseason, fully embracing him as the leader they believed could stabilize the team while the younger prospect behind him developed quietly. But Cousins' decline was unavoidable and brutally swift. The moment he began to struggle, the Falcons found themselves stuck between their expensive veteran who could no longer elevate the team and their rookie still learning how to survive in the NFL. When Cousins fell apart after his early season injury, the Falcons panicked. They turned to Penix sooner than intended, desperate for a spark. For a moment, it seemed plausible that maybe the rookie could grow quickly enough to salvage the last remaining pieces of the season. Instead, the rookie who had already endured more physical setbacks than most quarterbacks face in a lifetime ended up suffering the most significant injury of all, bringing the entire experiment to a screeching halt. As Penix left the field and the medical report confirmed the fears, Atlanta found itself forced to turn back to Cousins, a quarterback they had already emotionally moved on from. The locker room felt the shift instantly. The coaching staff saw the writing on the wall. And the front office, already under immense pressure, understood that the season was essentially over. This wasn't supposed to be the story. This wasn't supposed to be the outcome. The Falcons had envisioned efficiency, chemistry, and a resurgence of hope. Instead, they were left with a quarterback situation in shambles, a coaching staff on borrowed time, and a roster carrying the weight of decisions that have aged terribly in less than 2 years. Layered over all of this is the James Pierce Jr. dilemma, a move that now stands as one of the most costly draft trades in recent memory. When the Falcons traded their 2026 first-round pick to the Rams, they believed they were acquiring a high-ceiling pass rusher who could transform their struggling defense. Instead, they received a rotational player who has yet to find his footing in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Rams have turned that gamble into a luxury, transforming the Falcons' projected high draft choice into a powerful asset for a team already thriving. Watching a playoff contender sit comfortably near the top of the NFC standings while holding what could become a top 5 pick acquired from a collapsing organization is the kind of cruel twist that only deepens the Falcons' misery. It's one thing to lose games. It's another to lose hope for future improvement. But to lose both simultaneously while boosting another contender's future is the kind of organizational disaster that haunts franchises for years. All of these missteps, combined with the reality that Atlanta has now spent years searching for the right formula at quarterback, have placed Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot in the hottest seats imaginable. Patience has evaporated among the fanbase. Confidence in leadership has cracked. And the team's performance on the field reflects that uncertainty. A defense that was supposed to improve has sputtered. An offense constructed around 2 quarterbacks is now reliant on one they no longer trust. And a team that tried to avoid quarterback purgatory has walked directly into the very situation it feared. The Falcons now stand at a crossroads, staring down a harsh truth. Their grand strategy has failed, and the cost of that failure will shape the next several years of their franchise. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a guaranteed answer at quarterback. They don't have a coaching staff with secure futures. And they don't have a roster performing at the level needed to compensate for any of those missing pieces. The nightmare they hope to avoid has arrived, fully formed, leaving them scrambling for solutions in a league that punishes indecision and rewards stability. But the beauty and cruelty of the NFL is that the story never truly ends. Every disaster creates an opportunity. Every collapse sets the stage for a rebirth. Atlanta's nightmare might define this era of the franchise, but it doesn't have to define its future. The real question now is simple. Who will survive long enough to help write the next chapter, and what will that chapter look like? Let me know what you think about this entire Falcons collapse and where you believe the franchise goes from here. Was this the worst organizational gamble of the decade, or do you see a possible turnaround? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive story.